are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York girls. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 655 of the New York Knicks podcast. How you doing, Mark?
I am doing good. So are we what are we calling our last season? This being our last season, this being the season the Knicks were, of course, going to win the title.
Mm-hmm.
What are we calling our last season?
Swan song, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, should we call it like the last dance that no one cares about?
The last dance that sold no tickets.
Yeah, I was thinking, I mean, like, yeah. So basically, our last show, the last dance that, if a last dance happens in the woods, no one's there to hear it. That's our show.
So we've actually had a bunch of people reach out, and thank you so much for that. Like, really,
yeah.
Really appreciate
anyone
it.
wants to reach out to tell us how they appreciate the show. We got a bunch of people reaching out. Really, really appreciate the kind words. When people are saying like they've been listening since high school and everything else, it just makes us feel really good, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna cover a bunch of things this episode. There's only been one game. The Knicks played the T-Wolves in a pretty eventful game. By the way, currently the Knicks are playing. We're recording because of the Mets, the goddamn Mets, and they're so successful. They're playing every night the rest of this week, and might screw up our schedule for next week when they make the World Series. But the Knicks are currently playing the Hornets. Do you know what's interesting about this Hornets game, Jay?
Yeah, tell me, because I don't know.
There's actually something really interesting, and a reason you might want to watch this game later, and I hope you're recording it.
Okay.
Is Tibbs is doing something very interesting for him tonight. He is not playing a single starter.
Okay. I mean,
so it is the Knicks bench basically sticks through whatever versus the Hornets starters, because the Hornets are starting everyone. I mean, everyone who's healthy is starting and playing tonight. So it'll be interesting to see if our bench can beat the Hornets.
And the Hornets are so terrible, it's a really close game so far.
Yes, this game so far.
The Hornets are so bad. The Hornets and the Pistons have gotten so many top 5 picks. It's almost statistically impossible for them to be this bad.
They just exist to prove that tanking doesn't work.
Right.
They're like fuck the process. It's like their existence.
Yeah.
I would say on both those teams, like Detroit, they have Cade Cunningham, who's very promising. They have Jalen Duran. That like at some point they'll turn the corner. Maybe Charlotte, if LaMelo Ball ever stays healthy, he's really good. Brandon Miller looks like he could be an all-star at some point in the future. Both those teams at some point will be good, in theory.
And Bridges is good. I like Nick Richards, but like somehow it just doesn't work as a cohesive team.
They got a new coach this year. They've got I don't know. Maybe when they add the next top 5 pick, they'll really really start playing well. I don't know. Sometimes teams just start like they figure it out. So I will give a guarantee that within the next 40 years, they'll be a top 10 team.
So, we're gonna talk about the Timberwolves game, and then we're gonna go into our predictions for the East and West standings. End of the season.
Okay, you want to hear my topics for the show?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So first topic, the "You were the wind beneath my wings" is not what Dante said to Rick Brunson.
Definitely not.
Also, is Malachi Flynn Venom? Evil Dante? Is he Venom? Has he taken over Dante's body? Fits and the Tantrums, "I'm going to make your hands clap" was apparently the warm-up music Anthony Edwards listened to before the game. Like did you catch that moment, Jay, when he clapped in Brunson's face?
I didn't. And do you know that song?
Yeah, that's why I listed it.
I'm just surprised. Usually,
You're
like
surprised I know that's not the most random song.
it's a band that had one hit. Usually, you like I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
Jay,
just saying
most
it.
of your bands are like, "Oh, have you heard of the Silver Bucket Monkeys?" And I'd be like, "No, did you make that up?" And you're like, "Actually, they've been touring Europe for the last 40 years and have 100 albums."
and I have them all.
And I have them all alphabetized and ranked on my website, Jay Love Music. Uh,
That's not even a joke.
it's like- the amount of music knowledge that Jay has, and yeah,
I've been trying to figure out a way to start a music podcast. I just can't really like talking about music doesn't really translate to a podcast. But I've been trying to figure out how to do one for like 10 years.
I think you could take like a band and talk about the songs and then play the song, but
Yeah, but
without-
with the whole copyright stuff, like you can't do that. So
I'm convinced that your music that you like is so no one gives a shit about it. Even the band would just be happy having played somewhere. No one's ever heard of this stuff.
well, the guy from Random Ass Radio had a show where he just played an album and talked about the song, each song afterwards, and he never got in trouble. So I guess technically you can do it.
I think you just do it till someone tells you to stop.
Yeah.
And I think with the bands you're picking, like the band will be like, they'll send you thank you notes. Okay. So anyway, Anthony Edwards was guarding Brunson and he was clapping in his face, which was kind of a weird level of intensity for a preseason game.
It was a
Okay,
playoff
also-
atmosphere.
Yeah. Like, why is everything like it's a playoff atmosphere? It's the preseason. It is not a playoff atmosphere.
The crowd
Stop.
was really into for a preseason game. That was like
Okay, so if we're not calling it a playoff, you could say it's a regular season atmosphere for a preseason game. You can't say the preseason game that has no meaning whatsoever and both teams are going to play their bench in the fourth quarter. That's not playoff atmosphere.
what's your next topic?
Okay. Do the Knicks only make win-win trades under Leon? And I'm talking about like for the teams involved, not the players that are banned to the cold tundra of Minnesota or Canada.
Are you talking about when you say win-win? You mean both teams? Or we're not talking about them right now. You're just going through your topics.
Yeah, I'm going through my topics. We can come back to this stuff. That's the point of laying out the topics before the show.
All right, it's a long segment, but okay.
It's a lot. I wrote stuff and I'm going to read it. Also, while I watched the Knicks and the Timberwolves, what I was thinking was, wow, the Knicks have so many offensive weapons. I thought to myself, as it seemed like every play was Brunson trying to figure out how to score. Also, we're going to cover Gotye's "Somebody I Used to Know" ran in loop on my head while I watched Dante cook and saw shots of Randall on the bench, and I wondered how would Nick's Twitter would have overanalyzed his facial expressions while on the bench.
That's so true.
I also another topic is, will we get Nets Bridges or Suns Bridges, and which one do we want? And also, does Josh Hart know that despite us getting all these good offensive players, he also has to play offense this season? And also, we're doing preseason predicting season standings, so I'm excited to see how wrong Jay will be.
All right, sounds good.
A lot of topics.
A lot of topics.
So I guess the first one basically we should go into is basically whatchamacallit, the goddamn, where's that quote? Okay, Dante trash talking. Thank you for the trade, Tibbs. And then a little bit while later, that's what happens when they let you run the show, which he seems to have said to Rick Brunson. What do you think about all this?
It was interesting. I mean, I get he's mad. His three best friends were on the team, and they thought all four of them were going to play together. We're mad. Everybody's not happy about that.
I think it goes beyond him being mad that he's not playing with his friends. I think it's more like also, hey, remember when I signed a 4-year deal with you guys? Took a little bit under than I needed to take, and I thought I was going to be in New York for the next 4 years. Remember how I played my heart out, set the 3-point record, and now I'm in Minnesota, goddamn soda.
It also sounds like there was something going on between Rick and Dante.
Yeah.
Like personally, like maybe last year things weren't that great between them.
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, who knows? This is just too much speculating.
Yeah.
But it could be that he feels like where Rick should have been one of his supporters because he's like really tight with his son. he feels like maybe Rick was like, yeah. I mean, again, having no idea. Maybe Rick was just like, yeah, we got to trade him. We got to get Cat. Like, no loyalty whatsoever to Dante.
Yeah, I mean, Rick probably has a lot of pull because he's the one who got his son here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe they were balking at the Towns trade, and he said, you gotta do it. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, maybe Tibbs wasn't as on board with moving Dante. Because initially, the trade offer, my understanding was Randall. I guess it also was Rand. There was no altercation between Randall and the Knicks. It seemed like everything was fine.
Right.
But Randall also probably was a little bit depressed because he wasn't even able to play. But they didn't include Dante. It was supposed to be Randall and Mitch. And
Yeah.
they threw in a pick, and then like eventually work Dante into the trade.
Yeah.
He's got to just be pissed as hell. I mean, like he wanted to be in New York. He signed a 4-year deal. His friends are there, and he probably, we have no idea what Rick Brunson's role in him being traded. It seemed like he was kidding a little bit with Tibbs. Like people also say that maybe he said to him, it wasn't just instead of thank you for the trade, it was something about him not finishing because he wasn't great at finishing at the rim, and he showed Tibbs he could finish at the rim on that play.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that. I thought it was finishing games, but he was out there at the end of games, so I don't know.
I thought it was finishing at the rim. See, I could
okay.
finish at the rim, Tibbs. I don't know. It seemed like he was not angry at Tibbs.
Right.
He did seem at the end of the game. They kind of had to be separated, Brunson and Dante, Rick Brunson, that is. And when asked about it later on, Dante said nice things about Jalen, and then said, "I'll talk to Rick like separately."
Yeah.
So something's there. Kind of bad. I mean, I feel bad for both those guys, Randall and I. It sucks that guys have to be traded.
I mean, we've said it before. We both wanted them to run it back and see what happens.
Jay, I posed this on Twitter. These 5X Knicks are all attractive players still in the league. If you could have one of them back for free, or just maybe just draft picks, KP, and just add them to the roster. KP, RJ, IQ, Dante, or Randall. Who would you add to the roster?
Dante.
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like I was watching him being like, God damn it, it really sucks not to have.
Didn't even have to think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like KP, I don't miss as much, and I feel like he never would have worked out as a Knick. Randall doesn't fit anymore, especially if you have Towns on the team. IQ was fun, but RJ was inefficient, so I'm not adding him. And I know he's efficient on Toronto. Congrats. But Dante really seems to be a great fit with his team he's no longer on.
RJ had some interesting news come out this week.
Do we really want to put that in the show?
Nope, I'm just going to leave it there. You could do your own research.
We don't know if it's really true or not.
Right.
I think it's probably not true, but don't Google this. Anyway, so people have described the Toronto trade as being a win-win. Knicks got OG, paid him $800 million. We got Precious. For the Raptors, they got IQ, who's now a starting point guard for them. They got RJ, who's playing better. People generally consider it like win-win, basically. Do you think this is a win, forgetting the players, but getting how Dante may feel, do you think this is a win-win for both teams?
Yes, I do.
I really feel like with Minnesota, like, because of the emergence of Naz Reid, Pound's a little more expendable, and Dante is a great fit next to Edwards. So
yeah, no, I honestly think it could be a finals matchup. I mean, I'm high on both teams.
Are you previewing your are you kind of letting us in on your standings prediction?
No, I mean, I just think it's a possibility, but I wouldn't say they're the favorites. But I think it's a possibility.
Okay, we don't have to go on a limb. I might predict that. We'll see what happens when we get to this segment.
All right.
Okay. What did you actually think of the game?
I mean, it was good getting an extended look at this lineup. I still think there's, like you said in your topics in the beginning, I don't know why the ball isn't moving more, and
It
why
really isn't, right?
Yeah, why Brunson is just like he's doing a lot of ISO stuff, and he does score a lot. But like we have all these scorers now, the ball should look like 2008 Phoenix, like just zipping around.
It's not zipping around. I was listening to another podcast, and they made the point, which I hadn't really thought about it until they said that, was when you had Randall here, you had another creator. Do the Knicks have a second creator? Not like we wanted, like Randall was also like a draw of gravity. You had to double team him, and I think for Towns you might have to double team him. But you do have like a creator, another creator on the floor.
You mean like create their own offense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a guy that
Towns.
can go like Brunson. You can give him the ball, he can make it work. Does Towns really create his own offense as well as much as like he works off a pick and roll? He doesn't. You don't just give him the ball and go down low and figure it out, kind of thing.
I guess. I mean, it shouldn't matter as long as everybody's moving. Everybody's
No, but I mean,
like,
just like it doesn't having another creator. Sometimes it's helpful for a guy who can create his own offense and kind of helps open things up a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong.
I just think he's not passing enough. I mean, honestly, like if everybody's cutting and moving around, like he doesn't
Brunson's
need
not passing enough.
Brunson. He doesn't need to do all of this. And again, I'm not going to overreact to the preseason. Like this team could look completely different next week, but I didn't really like what I saw so far in the preseason.
No, I mean, I guess Josh Hart's a bit of a creator also, though he doesn't create for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I guess overall, my frustrations, it's preseason. Brunson's doing a little too much on his own, completely. Towns seems like he jacks up threes a little bit much. My understanding also is that like last year he wasn't good. He's better on catch and shoot threes. He's not amazing in creating his own threes, like his percentages, or like when he just does when he just a pull up three, his percentages are not amazing. It's really catch and shoot threes where he's like a high percentage 3-point shooter.
Right. Which he should be
also-
able to get a lot of clean looks on this team.
Yeah, I also feel like I don't know, he should be able to do a little bit down low. Like I haven't seen like I know he's not a bully ball player, but like he has so much size, he should be doing more scoring around the basket, right?
He's pretty fast. So I saw a play or two where he would like drive and dunk, and he's deceptively quick for his size, but
Yeah,
he's definitely
absolutely.
not definitely not like a Randall post up, take 5 seconds and 7 dribbles type of.
Yeah, he's not that, and that's good not to be that.
Mm-hmm.
He's also, and the speed kind of thing helps him get fouled also, because you get him the ball and he moves to the basket and teams foul him.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna have to get used to the jacking up threes. That's just he's gonna take a lot, but he shoots at a high percentage. Like Randall
Well,
took a lot of threes and was shooting like 34%.
What I was saying is that I think career-wise, when he does pull-up threes, his percentage is much lower. His percentage is much higher when it's catch and shoot, like when someone sets him up for a three.
Right, but if over the course of the season he's shooting 40%, like
We won't care. You're right.
yeah, I'm not going to complain about that.
OG seems like OG and Mikhail. I think everyone's kind of trying to figure out their offense, I guess, and how to play together.
Mm-hmm.
OG, like at times, looked really good, but he's kind of figuring. Him and Bridges are figuring out how to cut off ball to get open. I don't know. Like Bridges looked better when Brunson when he was playing with the bench unit. Bridges looked better because then he had a little more command of what was going on out there.
Tibbs might have to stagger the starters more. Pull somebody
they-
out early, pull somebody out like halfway through the first quarter, put in McBride, like just stagger things and see how that looks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's gonna happen, right? Like there's like he's only playing the starters so much together because he wants them to learn to play together.
Mm-hmm.
But in a real game situation, he's not going to leave a bench unit by themselves for the second quarter. That just doesn't like he's not going to want just bench players out there. At
No,
any point.
especially since the Knicks don't have like 5 bench guys right now.
Right. I mean, if anything, if you look at like you put the starting 5 out there, maybe you pull Bridges halfway through the first quarter, and then he comes back with the bench unit, and same with maybe pull Josh Hart with have him come back with the bench unit, and kind of mix and match like going forward.
Yeah, yeah. Throwing a little Precious. I mean, maybe we'll start seeing some of the new guys. Kolek, Huckporty. Who knows?
I don't know. Kolek and Huck Porter are supposed to get major minutes tonight. Should be interesting.
Daddier is going off right now. He's played.
Who's going off?
He's played Daddier. He's played 4 minutes and he has 9 points.
What? Holy crap! I'm going to watch this later, but I don't. Feel free to. I don't need spoil. I don't need no spoiler alert for preseason games. But holy crap!
Yeah,
I'm kind of dying to see Daddier play. Also, I don't think I caught him really playing in the preseason.
he hasn't played. He sprained his finger, I believe.
Oh
so.
yeah, he didn't play at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first look we're getting.
It'd be nice if he ended up actually being a pretty good player.
Yeah. That would be.
Yes, Mark. It'd be good if our drafted players end up being players that can contribute.
If any of Daddier, Kolek, or Huckporty can actually contribute this year, that solves the big hole in the bench. So
yeah, if they can actually be. I mean, Kolek. What we see from Kolek, you kind of think like he should be able to contribute sooner than later.
I mean, I'm just watching the box score right now since we have to record around the Mets, but he's.
Jay's not bitter about that at all.
He's got. I mean, as much as I like baseball even more when it affects the podcast. So, so Kolek has five rebounds and 4 assists in 7 minutes. So this could be something too.
I haven't. What have you thought about paying like the guys that are most likely to start the season as the major bench pieces? Mm-hmm. McBride, we're agreed on. He was awesome last year. McBride's going to be a staple in the bench unit. Mm-hmm. Really, the guys I'm thinking of are Payne and Shamet. What do you think about those guys?
I mean, Payne has been a backup for a long time, and he's decent. He's not going to blow you away, but he'll give you. It's not going to be like, holy shit, we just blew a 20-point lead because Payne is out there. Like he's solid. Right. He's like better than he's like a better Alfred.
He's better. I mean, don't insult him by comparing him to Alfred. Come on.
I mean, Alfred he was good at assists.
Yeah. Okay. He got some assists. Yeah. So Payne can shoot some. He's a decent shooter. He's going to be good at running a bench unit.
Yes. Yeah. Alfred could distribute the ball, and he's improved his shooting a lot, so he's fine. Shamet's hit or miss. I mean, he's going to be hot some nights. He's going to be ice cold other nights. One of those nights is tonight, apparently. And
does Shamet know he still has to make the team?
I know, right? It's like, here's my big chance. I'll go 1 for 7. So
here's my big chance to go play in Europe.
Right. So, I mean, I'm not banking on Shamet being a big contributor by the end of the season. If he has to play now while, like, Daddy and Kolek get their legs under them, fine.
Yeah.
I do like the nickname Champagne for the backcourt.
Yeah. I mean, that's great for as long as they're here. I would love to see Kolek get some minutes. I mean, you always want to see the young players play because they always have the potential that Shamet no longer has.
Right. I mean, it's also fun just to draft somebody and root for them. Like, isn't that the exciting part about McBride? Like, the Knicks actually drafted him, and we watched him go from a 28% shooter to a 3-point shooter to a 41% 3-point shooter. Like, that's fun.
Leon, so you said I'm not allowed to play any minutes really in the NBA at all until I sign this really terrible contract for myself?
I mean, that's...
Okay, it's signed. Now you'll play major minutes.
It might literally be the best contract in the NBA.
It's unbelievable. He's the only guy paying who's a major contributor on a playoff bound team that is playing for the equivalent of NBA minimum wage.
I really hope that he hasn't paid for a single meal or drink the entire year. Like, I really hope everybody else is covering his tab.
I'm assuming also when they're going out to eat, like, OG, we saw your contract. You're paying tonight again.
Yeah, remember when you took enough that we, had no cap flexibility? Well, maybe dinner's on you today.
And then OG's like, Towns. I think it's on Towns actually.
Yeah.
Knicks went from a team that didn't have any high contracts to like high contracts galore.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, so
at
the
least the
bench-
highest contracts are the guys that are the most injury prone. So at least there's that.
The Knicks should have an interesting. It should be an interesting team. Also, how old do you think? How old do you think Sims is?
He's been on the team, what, 4 years?
Yeah,
26?
yeah, 26. He's getting old to be a guy who can barely play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just pointing out that like at some point you have to show more to deserve a spot on an NBA roster. Hopefully he'll show more this year. I'm predicting that the backup center minutes go to Achua, than more to Achua than Sims, basically.
It's possible. I mean, Sims is rebounding the hell out of the ball right now, but
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Sims, but
I don't have a ton of faith either. I mean, I feel like Huck Porty might even take his minutes by the end of the season.
yeah, I'm excited about the younger guys now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should be interesting. So we have some questions. Want to do some questions?
I would love to do some questions.
Okay. First question we had. Okay. Across the Cavs writes from Twitter, bench depth and your ideal rotation. Okay, so the rotation is going to be how many guys? 9 guys?
I think it's going to be 9 during the regular season and probably 8 during the playoffs.
Okay, let's why don't we hold off on the playoff rotation for now?
Okay.
What's your rotation to start the year? What's your ideal rotation to start the year? Obviously the 5 starters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume McBride.
Yeah.
Give me the other 3.
So the other 3 is going to be Payne, Precious, and probably I think it's going to be Shamet or Sims, depending on the matchups. But I think by the end,
you can't have a 9-man rotation. You can't have a game where you're playing Achua and Sims. It's going to be one or the other.
or then probably
You can't put them
Shamet.
both, you can't put them both on the court at the same time.
No, but you could still stagger the minutes.
Fine, but that's not really. That's almost a rotation of 10.
Well, I think it'll be situational. Like if you're playing Philly and Embiid is healthy, you're gonna put in Sims. If you're
Okay.
playing a small ball team, you're gonna play Shamet instead of Sims.
That's totally. Yeah. I guess I'm thinking it's could probably. I guess it's going to be Shamet, Payne, Achua, and McBride with Sims playing if the matchup forces that.
That being said, I would not be surprised if Porty and Kolek are in place of Shamet and Sims by the end of the season.
I wonder if Kolek will be playing. I'm going to predict Kolek plays bench minutes for the Knicks in before December. I actually, maybe in the first 2 weeks of the year or first 3 weeks of the year, I feel like he has looked so good. And I haven't really watched tonight, but I think he might get some real minutes early on because I'm betting he's impressing in practice also. And I bet Tibbs is going to be like, I'm not just going to play Shamet or Payne because of the vets. I'm going to play Kolek if he looks good. I want to win these games.
Honestly, if they keep looking this good, Shamet might not even make the final roster.
I feel like he's gonna make the final roster just because like the other guy like TJ Warren is not gonna make the final roster. So there are guys that are just easier to cut.
True.
Why is Jacob Toppin on the team?
You need to have at least 14 guys signed to the roster.
It can't be sign me. Why is Jacob Toppin on the? I don't understand why he's on the roster. Like it doesn't even seem like the Knicks are planning to develop him.
Right. That would be like life-changing money. Just sign one of us to a minimum contract. If you're not going to play anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Knicks, it's the final season of our show. Sign Jay and I to 1-day contracts. It'll make our year.
I will bust my ass in practice for that 24 hours.
I have a major back injury. I'll risk permanent back injury just to practice with you guys, just for that contract.
There you go. So Rob says, random thought for the last episode, Jay should cash in all of his burger bets and you guys live stream to see how many he eats.
How many burgers do I owe you, Jay? My tally says none, but I think I'm wrong.
You're definitely wrong. I think I actually lost a burger bet, so that negates one. So I still think you owe me 3 burgers.
That probably is right. We're gonna have to at some point. I'm going to come meet up with you and cash in. Like, you got to cash in some of those.
Just all of them on the same day. Just here's a platter of burgers.
Jay's like, hey, we're gonna go to a game at Madison Square Garden. I'm gonna cash him in at Madison Square Garden, where each burger's $30.
Yeah, that'll be $150, please.
Okay. WW Knicks, right? Worldwide Knicks, right? Would you prefer Hart to come off the bench and be part of closing lineups?
I feel like I'd rather Hart start because I like what McBride brings as far as playmaking that I don't think Hart does. So as much as I like McBride, I think he's a good guy to bring off the bench when Brunson sits.
I disagree with Hart starting still. I think Hart, maybe my ideal rotation has Hart on the bench. I still think McBride would make more sense with the starters. McBride, I like a lot of what McBride does, but he's not really a playmaker. Cam is going to play more playmaker, or Kolek when he actually starts playing more. Hart can do some playmaking also, and Hart also is the natural guy to kind of sub in for Bridges or OJ.
I'd almost not mind seeing Precious start and you have McBride and Hart run the bench.
I think you're out of your goddamn mind if you want Precious to start.
I mean, how much
First of all,
offense do you need in the starting
how is-
lineup?
Are you sorry? I talked over you. Are you out of your mind?
What, how much scoring do you need in the starting lineup?
Apparently, you need a bunch of scoring because Brunson thinks he has to do it all himself.
I mean, they got to have an intervention with him saying, like, look, you're surrounded by 40% three-point shooters. Like, you don't have to do this.
Yes, but you can't be like, hey, you know what's going to make the starting unit better? A guy that can't hit a three if his life depended on it.
He's not that bad.
Look up his three-point shooting from last year. I'm guessing it's under 25%.
I'm looking it up right now, and I'm going to guess it's like 33%.
No way in God. A burger bet right now before you look.
Sure.
Okay. Guarantee it is. You say 33%. I say 25%. Whoever's. I'm right. Just go on.
We're down to 2 burgers. Yeah.
What was it?
It's 26%.
Yeah. There's no way he was hitting 33%. No way that was possible.
I had no idea he was that bad. Okay.
No, he's not a spacer. He doesn't make any. First of all, if you're having Towns out there as your center, why would you put Precious out there to negate the fact that you have Towns as your center?
Okay. I mean, fair.
It's ludicrous, Jay. We have to end the show because you have that logic. Anyway, I thought McBride would make some sense with the starters. I like it. I just think Josh Hart is the natural small forward, even power forward, or he's a switchblade, basically. He's an Army Swiss
Army knife.
Swiss Army knife. Thank you, Jay. That's why we're on the show together, because you can fill in the words I can't remember. He's really like the jack of all trades. So I feel like he would fit in well. I don't know, whatever. The starting unit looks pretty good. Do you think the starting unit will remain these 5, or do you think any changes will actually happen?
I still think, well, it should be
I think ending the game with this lineup makes perfect sense, but go on.
Yeah, ending the game makes perfect sense like this, but I am curious to see if they trade Mitch. The same Mitch comes back completely healthy in January. They might trade him for a different position, and that might change the starting lineup. Because I do think a healthy Mitch has value.
Yeah, I think healthy Mitch has value, but his value, it's negated by the fact that he's going to miss the first 2 or 3 months of the season. So like, no one's going to have a lot of faith in his future health, and he's signed for a couple more years, right?
If he comes back in January and he looks amazing, and some other team has, like I said it last episode, like the Pelicans have no center, they might be like, yeah, we need to do this trade. What if the Pelicans are like in 8th place and they're like, we could make a run at like home court advantage if we had a center?
Right. They give us Herb Jones. Yeah. Let's see how dumb they are. How did Mitch, you think, look when he came back last year from injury? Well, actually, how did he look when he started the year, and how did he look when he came back?
He looked like an all defensive player at the beginning of the season.
How did he look when he came back from injury?
Not good.
Has he ever looked good when he come right immediately following an injury?
Yes. I'm just saying that for anybody, any GMs listening. He looks awesome when he comes back.
How many years left on his contract? He was signed off of before 2 years ago, or
I think he has 2 years
or
left. It's not a terrible contract. I think it's 15, 16 million a year. He has this year and next year, and it's a descending contract. So he only makes 13 next year, 14 this year.
Okay, so he only has one more year remaining.
Yeah.
At 12 million.
It's
Maybe
not
a
bad.
team is looking to get out of a longer contract, might trade for him. I just think the fact that he's going to miss half this year. I mean, you're right. The idea that he's healthy, maybe some team will trade for him, but then they'll also think like he's going to be injured next year. Takes away a lot of his value. When Mitch comes back, the idea will be that he takes over the backup, possibly starting center. I think backup center more than anything, but like hopefully he can contribute and be kind of awesome Mitch.
I mean, there's a chance they just do what they did in Minnesota, move Towns to the 4, Hart goes to the bench. That's not a terrible lineup.
It's not a terrible lineup. I just wonder if Mitch will be what I'm guessing is that when Mitch comes back, he will not be playing at a level that makes that lineup make sense. Like he takes a little while to really get his game back around. It's hard to be awesome right when you come back from injury, and he's going to take a while.
What do you think his 3-point percentage is?
Mitch's 3-point percentage?
Yeah.
I remember him taking like 2 3-point shots in the last 5 years. I'm going to guess his 3-point percentage is 0%.
You're correct. He's never taken one.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe he took one.
6 years, he's taken 0.
Do you know what is his percentage on drives to the rim going for a dunk?
I feel like it's 100.
I think he might have missed one, but generally that's worked out when he's done that.
Yeah. All
The
4 times.
Yes, the 4 times he's driven the ball to the basket, it's looked like a pretty good weapon.
Yeah.
I think generally when he comes back, Mitch will probably end the season as a Knick because I think the Knicks they'll get him back. They'll look at the trades. The trade options won't be amazing, and the best option will just be playing Mitch.
I think people are forgetting how good he is on defense, and it's not crazy to move Towns to the 4 and just have that be the starting lineup. That's still a really good starting lineup.
I mean, it also, if that happens, it means that when he gets back in like January. That means up till January, it hasn't been working that great with the Towns starting at the 5.
Not necessarily. It just might work better. I mean, it deepens the bench.
I mean, him playing. I assume when Mitch is back, Sims and Precious just play less, if not or not at all.
Sims is gone. Yeah, Sims is 100% gone.
Yeah. So it's more just Sims gets to really know the rooks because he's going to sit next to them throughout the game.
Yeah.
But I assume that Mitch will take over their spot. I don't know if it really deepens the bench as he just replaces guys that are playing.
And it makes the bench better because you're moving Hart to the bench. Now you have McBride, Hart, and like Precious as your 8-man rotation instead of having a guy like either Sims or Shamet.
I'm saying you're going to spend the next 2.5 months practicing a starting rotation that's all about extending the floor, and then you're going to reverse course and have like
you still got 4
clogged
floor
paint.
spacers. It's not like there's no spacing. You still have 4 40% shooters on the floor.
I'm going to assume if the Knicks are playing well enough, they're not going to want to mess with you'll want to keep going with Towns as a starting center.
I mean, if they're like 25-5, yeah, they're not going to mess with it. But if they're like
5-25, they might switch it up.
Yeah, if they're 20-15 and just kind of cruising along, they'll switch it up.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm just assuming Mitch will both not be defensive player of the year level Mitch when he comes back, and I'm assuming we're really going to want to go all in on developing Towns for the center position because that's really where this team that's what the point of this trade is to really to have like what the Celtics did with KP. have a true floor spacer who can also play center and be a really dangerous offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, Mitch makes the bench, at the very least, if Mitch coming off the bench, he makes the bench a whole lot better. And probably Hart, it'll be interesting to see how this rotation works out. Hart will play a lot. Hart's going to play 30 minutes a night. Everyone's going to play 30 minutes a night, basically.
Yeah.
All those five plus McBride will play 20 to 25 minutes a night.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. More questions, Jay.
Okay.
Okay. Daniel writes, hey guys, how do you think Cat stacks with other centers in the East from an offensive and defensive perspective? Top of my head, KP, Embiid, Bam, Cavs, Twin Towers, take your pick, and Indiana guy, LOL, I forgot his name.
Turner.
Okay, KP, who's a better offensive player, KP or Cat?
Cat.
Yeah. It's close though, right?
No.
It's no, not at all.
I think Cat's better down low, and I think Cat's better at 3. Like,
Okay.
I just think he's better.
Defensively?
He's definitely a better passer.
Definitely a better passer. KP or Cat defense?
KP,
Yeah, probably KP.
but it's not it's not a blowout.
Not a blowout. KP is not the rim protector he was earlier in his career.
Yeah.
Embiid. Offensively, Cat's a better shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid's probably a better. He draws more BS fouls, and he's more of a. Embiid probably is the better offensive player.
Yes.
It's not insulting Cat to say that. And defensively, Embiid's probably the better player as well.
Yeah.
Bam, Cat's a better offensive player than Bam.
Way
right?
way better. Yeah.
Yeah. Bam's a very good offensive player, but just Cat's better. Defense, Bam is way better defense. Bam, of the players listed so far, Bam's the best defensive player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cavs, so Josh Allen, not Josh,
Jared Allen.
Jared Allen. Jared Allen and who's the other guy? That
Turner.
sucks?
Miles Turner.
No, on the Cavs.
Oh, on the
Twin
Cavs.
Evan Mobley.
Mobley. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess really they want Mobley to be in theory, to be a stretch 5, but it hasn't worked out quite like that. But Jared Allen, I would say Cat's better offense. Defense, Jared Allen's probably a little better.
Yeah.
And Miles Turner, again, Cat is better on offense and defense. Miles Turner blocks a lot of shots, right?
Yeah.
So I guess Miles Turner wins that. Though he's not the most amazing defensive player. He's just good at blocking shots.
Right. Right.
That
being said, you'd want Towns over almost all those guys.
You're saying you would?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd want him over. Would you want him over Embiid? Forgetting the fact that he's a whiny bitch.
I would say yes, just because the health concerns. I know Towns gets injured a lot, but Embiid is like, he may never play a back-to-back ever again. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like almost never healthy come playoff time. I would pick Towns just from that.
Do you think it's any truth to the rumor that that the 76ers acquired Paul George to make it seem like Embiid's the healthy one?
He hyperextended his knee immediately.
Paul George, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of this list, the one that would have been most interesting, and I don't like him as a player, but the most interesting to have been on a Tibbs team would have been Bam.
Yeah.
I feel like he has that. He would have the Tibbs, like there's something, he would have the energy to be a Tibbs type player, except for his dirty ass screens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Towns is, I don't think Towns is as bad a defender, and now I am preaching his defense, but he's not as bad a defender as people think he is. He's gotten better over the years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Daniel writes, one more question, if I may. Assuming the Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, Cavs are the top teams, how do you think each of our starters matches up with each of their starters? The Cavs are one of the top teams.
Yeah.
How?
They're a very good regular season team.
Yeah, but they're going to get worse because they don't win anything in the playoffs. Eventually, guys are going to get bitter about the fact that the team kind of. You're right. They do play well in the regular season, but like
On
at some
paper,
point,
you look at their team and they're like, "Oh, this is like a 50-win team. They're really good."
the Celtics, obviously, their five, their starters are better than Knicks. Like until the Knicks prove otherwise, the team that won the title and won a ton of games last year, the one that like they get to win that battle.
Well, we did that.
Six-
We did the starting lineup matchups last episode, and I think we had Knicks with 3 out of 5 positions on the Celtics.
Yeah, but either way, like the Celtics just they get to win that because they won the title. Against the Sixers, you have Embiid versus Towns. Pretty close. You might give the edge to Embiid. You have Tyrese Maxey versus Brunson. Going to give the edge to Brunson, but Tyrese Maxey is pretty close. Paul George when he's healthy versus, I guess,
OG.
I guess you go Paul George when he's healthy. He's a little better of an offensive player. Not nearly as good a defensive player. But he's not. He's a good defensive player. But then Mikhail and Hart just beat the next two guys in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Martin does not move the needle for me at all.
Yeah. The Bucks are just like Giannis and 4 broken down guys. Well, sorry, 3 broken down guys because obviously, who's their point guard who's actually a really good defender?
Dame, no, they don't have.
No, I said a good defender.
They have a point guard that's a good defender on the
Yeah,
Bucks?
they have. Oh no, he's on the Celtics now. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm losing my mind.
Yeah, no, they have.
Yeah, so
Dame Lopez and Middleton are all like end of their careers. Like, the Bucks window I think is closed.
the Bucks win Giannis over Towns, I guess, and they lose the other 4 positions. And the Cavs,
Actually, it would be Giannis over
it doesn't matter.
Hart
The
or
Knicks-
something because Towns would be Brooke Lopez.
You're right. Yes. Anyway, the Knicks win the other 4 positions, and the Cavs don't do too well here either. I mean, you got Donovan Mitchell wins over Josh Hart. I think I'm going the other 4 positions for the Knicks.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's no bias there. That was an objective view on everything.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're a longtime listener to the show, you know we have no problem shitting on the Knicks when they're bad. It's just the Knicks have a good squad right now.
It's a new era. Frank writes, let's hear your completely insane 99.9% chance of not happening predictions for this season. I'll go first. Kolek will be starting 1, and Brunson will be moved over to the 2 by the end of the season.
That is pretty crazy.
That is pretty crazy. That is pretty darn crazy. I'm going to, God damn it, all my things are like, Towns stays their starting center. That's not a crazy prediction. Hart moves to the bench. Not a crazy prediction. What's a crazy prediction? Daddy A becomes a major part of our rotation.
You know he has 16 points right now.
I really am dying to watch this game later tonight.
Yeah.
Daddy A becomes a major part of our rotation, and then Leon Rose just takes a bow.
We have a Kolek triple-double watch right now.
Holy shit. Who's winning?
The Knicks are up by 2 at half.
Holy shit, this is going on. 16 points at half for Daddy A?
Yeah. And Kolek has 5, 7, and 7.
Why are the Hornets not folding and going to college?
I mean,
Why don't they just take the best college basketball team and replace them?
They should just fold and give the Sonics their team back.
Yeah, holy crap.
Honestly, but the Hornets, like, I have nostalgia for like the 90s Hornets.
This is not that team.
I know. I'm just saying, like, the Wizards should just go to Seattle. Nobody cares about the Wizards.
Give me an insane take, Jay.
Insane take is we see huge minutes from Kolek, Huck, Porty, and Daddy A because the Knicks are up by 20 almost every single game.
Crazy turn of events. The Knicks reacquire Dante DiVincenzo at the trade deadline.
I don't know if legally they can, but that would be amazing if they could. I think you have to
legally, like I've read the statutory law. He can't. I don't know what the rules are for trading a guy and then trading back for him in the regular season.
I know. I feel like there's like something like it has to be a year, but if they got him back next year, I would not complain at all.
I don't think you can you can't trade a player away and then have him be released and then re-sign the guy. But I wonder if you could trade back for him.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? Any other insane takes? Oh, I got one. Tibbs wins Coach of the Year, while Nick's Twitter demands him demands him to be fired.
You're just predicting the future. All right, you want to do our predictions?
We're almost, hang on, let's finish. Mark Henny writes, since this is your last year, can you recommend other podcasts? Bummed you're leaving after the season, of course. Daniel wrote back KFTV, Knicks Film School, and Locked On Knicks. I would say, and he's wrote, but no one beats these two guys for funniest show I've ever seen with spot on analysis. Those 3 pods above are great for other reasons, though. Of those 3, I like Locked On Knicks. I'm a regular listener of Locked On Knicks. I think they do a great show. It's not funny. It's not meant to be funny, but really great analysis.
There really isn't any other humorous podcast. We thought that would separate us from the crowd and elevate us.
Separate us.
And well, it separated us, but not how we thought it would.
But I think there was other funny ones that just didn't, whatever. But Locked On Knicks, do you have any Knicks podcasts you would recommend, Jay? Do you listen to any others?
No.
Okay. Mark Henry writes, Anthony writes, God damn it. With Evil Dante going full heel, who do you think, God damn it, who do you think he was talking to when he said, that's what happens when you let you run the show? I think it's Rick Brunson, we're pretty sure.
Yeah.
Also, what the hell happened with Julius also at the end? This seems like a bad breakup. It is a bad breakup. Those guys didn't want to leave. It's awkward. It's different with RJ and IQ because I think IQ wanted to spread his wings and start, and RJ kind of needed like some other place to he. First of all, he's from Canada. He was kind of fine going up to Toronto. No one's fine going to Minnesota. Everyone's fine leaving Minnesota. No one's fine going there.
Yeah, it's also weird that out of all the teams the Knicks could play, they played Minnesota in the preseason.
It was the same thing as last year. I was eyeing getting tickets for a random Knicks game that just worked out well with taking my son to it. It turned out to be the Knicks-Toronto game, which shouldn't have mattered if not for the fact that it was right before I was going to get tickets right before the trade happened.
Yeah, usually the Knicks play the Wizards twice in the preseason.
Which they are, I think. Or they play them once?
I think just once. There's only 5 preseason games, and this is the 4th one already.
Okay, they have one more, and they are playing the Wizards. So they are playing the Wizards twice. On Friday, it's Friday the Wizards, and then Tuesday, Knicks Celtics. We're going to be back unless the Mets are in the World Series next week. When the Mets are in the World Series next week, our schedule will be completely thrown off. But if they're not, we'll be reporting Wednesday night to go over what happened in the Knicks Celtics game 1 of the season.
Yeah.
But you want to do our predictions of the standings?
Yes.
You want to start at the top or the bottom?
Let's start at the top.
Okay. So I'm going to predict with the best record we're doing the East first or the West?
We'll do the East.
By the way, I'm just going to throw this out there. Jay already said my finals prediction. It's the Knicks versus the Timberwolves. Knicks win in 7. That's what's going to happen. If Jay has any other prediction, then he's just wrong.
Well, I had Knicks beating Timberwolves in 6, so that's wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine, whatever. Anyway, so I'm still going to say the Celtics will have the best record. I think the Knicks will be 1. The Celtics will be 1. The Knicks will be 2. The Knicks will be the 2 seed again. What about you?
That's what I have, but it'll be much closer. It's not going to be 14 games. It's going to be 2 or 3, but I'm going to give the edge to the Celtics.
I'm going to say the Knicks win 56 games. Celtics win 58.
That sounds about right.
I think the Knicks are going to win a lot of games. They're going to break that 54. They're going to win more than that 54.
Knicks win more games than last season. Celtics win less. Yes.
I mean, this is a flat-out better team than that 54-win team. There's no question.
Almost every maybe every position. Yeah.
This is the best Knicks team since we started doing the show.
Yeah.
Hands down. And there really aren't a lot of years to compete with. Right. Number 3, I'm going to take the Orlando Magic.
Whoa. That's a hot take. That is a flaming hot take.
They are going to get better. They had a great second half of the year last year. They're going to be good this year. I think some teams are going to fall off. They're going to fall up. or not fall off. They're just going to be a very good team.
I am going to go Cleveland still. I just think they're a really good regular season team. I expect them to lose in the first round again, but I think they're going to have a good regular season.
I think when you have no playoff success, at some point you get just like pissed off and you have less, it leads to less regular season success also.
Yeah. I think this year will be their chip on the shoulder season, and then next year they're going to be completely demoralized and start tumbling.
I'm going to say at number 4, the Pacers. I think the Pacers are going to build on last year's success. They have Miles Turner the whole season. They'll be a team where we can be annoyed about the whole year. But they'll be number 4.
I had the Pacers at 4 also. They're a young team. They're very good. They don't have any like injury prone guys. I think they'll be good.
Jay, stop looking at my notes. Number 5, I am taking the Bucks. They have Giannis, Dame. They'll win a bunch of games still, even with a broken roster. They'll be number 5.
Okay, I went with Philly.
Yeah, I mean that's reasonable. I'm taking Philly at 6, and mostly because I'm expecting George to miss a bunch of time and Embiid to miss a bunch of time, and but yeah, that just for injuries, number 6.
That's fair. I have the Magic at 6.
Okay. Well,
So
we'll see how correct I am and you're wrong.
So you are really low on Cleveland.
Okay. I haven't said Cleveland yet. So Cleveland is my number
7. And if I didn't remind you, would you have had Cleveland next?
I'm trying to, you know what? I'm going to take the Heat at number 7.
Okay.
I'm going to say I don't think Cleveland's going to have a great year. I think Cleveland's going to 8. I'm going to take Cleveland at 8 and the Heat at 7.
I have the Bucks at 7. I just think that Middleton's almost never healthy anymore. They're like one Dame injury away from barely making the playoffs.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think Bucks will be a little better, but okay. So I did.
And
8.
Lopez is what, like 36, 37 now? And at 8, I have the Heat.
Yeah. Okay. Then it gets. I'm gonna say then it gets interesting. It doesn't get interesting. It gets completely not interesting. At number 9, I guess the Bulls. I know they were 9 last year, and I'm just taking them because you got Kobe White's gonna have a full season, probably being their starter.
Mm-hmm. Lonzo Ball's back.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said he expects to play next preseason game.
When you say next, you mean next preseason or like this preseason?
We'll find out if there was a comma in there.
They look when Heat was healthy, which he will not look like the healthy Lonzo version. They were actually a pretty good team.
Yeah.
I first of all, Chicago fans, you should tune in to see the only game he plays this year. Please tune in. I mean, obviously, you really hope he pulls a Grant Hill and he's healthy going forward. Man, he missed what, 2 full years?
I think so. Yeah.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the fact that Lonzo's back, I guarantee number 9. Okay, number 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Chicago at 9 too. 10, I have the Hawks.
I guess so.
It's really hard at this point, right? Like
They have too much talent not to put them there. 11, I'll put the Raptors because IQ, RJ, they got some. They have some talent there.
they do. They have Barnes.
They have Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, I had the Raptors at 11 too. Like they got to win some games.
Yeah.
The last 4 is tough.
I mean, 12, you got to take the Nets only because the teams after them are just so much. Like they have Dennis Schroeder. They have some decent. Like they have some players. They have Cam Johnson.
And Cam
do
Thomas.
you know what's his name? Actually, Ben Simmons had a normal game, a normal preseason game at least the other night.
Yeah,
Scored some
no, I
points.
saw that.
He looked like a decent player. So
I'm gonna flip that. I'm gonna go Charlotte 12, Brooklyn 13.
the Knicks bench is beating them tonight. I'm gonna say Charlotte 13, Detroit 14. The Wizards are the worst, 15.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, let's go to the West.
The bottom of the East is just so bad.
So bad. Okay, so the West, I'm going to say it's really tempting that the OKC has iHeart. It's really tempting to say OKC has the best record.
And they added Caruso too.
Yeah, I'm gonna say OKC is the best record. I guess it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they
They're
added those guys
one.
and lost pretty much nothing.
Minnesota's gonna be number two. With they added Dante, they added Randall.
Yeah.
They're gonna be good. Number two, I think Denver is has lost some motivation to be a dominant regular season team. Even though they didn't win the title or anything last year, I just think like over time you just become less motivated in the regular season. I think Denver's three.
Well, they also keep losing pieces, like
Yeah.
key pieces.
Um,
I
Denver.
actually have Dallas
So
3. I had OKC and Minnesota, and then I have Dallas 3.
they did add what's left of
Clay.
Clay. Yes.
Yeah, so I had Dallas 3 and Denver 4.
Okay. I'm gonna take Dallas 4.
Mhm.
Number 5.
It starts getting tough after the top 4.
Number 5. I mean, Sacramento's a good regular season team that's bad in the playoffs.
Yep. That's who I
Um,
had. That's who I had at 5.
yeah, I was gonna say Sacramento at 5 and 6. The Pelicans. So they don't. Who's the Pelican center?
Herb Jones.
I don't think he's their center. I still don't believe you.
He is though. They have no center.
Okay, I guess the Suns at 6. Okay, I know. Okay, 5 I have Sacramento, and 6 I will take 6. Who's gonna make a major jump this year? Okay, 6, the Houston Rockets.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Hot take.
hot take. Wait till you hear my 7.
So I have, let's see, Sacramento at 5. I have the Pelicans at 6. I think they got enough talent to get
when
there.
does Ja come back?
Well, he came back and then got injured in preseason.
Oh, okay. When's he coming back again?
Soon, I think. I don't think it was a big injury.
Do we think the Spurs make a major jump this year? Year
They're
2
going
of
to look
Wemby?
really good for like the 25 games Paul is healthy.
Oh yeah, they have Paul. I forgot that. They're not making that big of a jump. Okay, what's the point when he cuts this low and
The West is not the way it used to be. The West used to be like so deep, and now it's like there's really
7
like 4 teams that have a chance, right?
7 the Clippers?
7 Clippers. Okay. You are way
8.
higher on the Clippers than me.
I'm not that high on them. I think the West is falling apart.
I have Phoenix at 7.
I think didn't I put Phoenix where did I put Phoenix?
You have not ranked Phoenix yet.
Okay, I'll put Phoenix at 8.
Okay. I have Memphis at 8.
By the way, okay, hot take. I'm gonna give it a hot take. 99.9% chance of it not happening, but because he is I believe his agent is part of Leon Rose is part his son is part of the agent group for him. How does Devin Booker end up on the Knicks this year?
I think they're finally out of like max contract trades.
Okay. Yeah, they can't really get Devin Booker. Okay. I'm just wondering, like, is that gonna happen suddenly?
Yeah, I don't think that there's a chance of that anymore.
Probably not happening. Okay.
So you have Clippers at 7, Phoenix at 8. Who do you have at 9?
9, I'm going to take the Spurs. They make a major jump with Wemby.
Okay.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's just not gonna really. The Golden State Warriors. They got Steph. They still have too much talent.
Warriors at 9. Okay. I have the Warriors at 9 as well.
Okay. 10, I am taking Ja leads the resurgent Grizzlies. Grizzlies had a lot of injuries last year. If they're healthier, they're just a better team.
Yeah. I had them at 8. So I have at 10. I have the Spurs.
Okay. 11, I have the Spurs.
Spurs at 11. At 11, I have the Lakers.
Oh, yes, I didn't say the Lakers yet. 12, I have the Lakers. And by the way, I'm going to say league MVP this year, Bronny James, based on just how often he's being featured on ESPN.
Front page every single day. I am going at 12. I'm going Clippers. Kawhi is already injured. He hasn't played in preseason. Like,
holy shit. They really should trade Kawhi.
I can't believe they gave him a new contract, and he's just like, it's bad.
They got Harden.
Yeah.
My son was doing his fantasy basketball draft in the car ride home the other night from wherever we were coming from, and he let me participate in the draft until we got home, and then he didn't let me participate anymore. But at some point, it was like he was like he'd be like, these are the players, like these are the 3 or 4 players that are like up based on the rankings. Who should I take? And I actually recommended him take James. I'm like I don't like him as a player, but James Harden will probably put up decent numbers. You should take him right here.
Mm-hmm. He's just tell him he's going to punt turnovers.
That's true. That's true. I feel like generally in fantasy basketball, that's the one category you got to be willing to punt.
I always punt turnovers. I'm just like, I'm going to win 5 categories. Turnovers are not one of them. And I go forward.
I don't know where I am, but I guess like 14 would be the Jazz.
You're at 13.
Okay, 14 would be the Jazz, and 15. Okay, 13 would be the Jazz. 14 will be who have I not? Trailblazers at 15. Who have I not said at 14?
Pelicans.
Oh, okay. I think the Pelicans should be much higher. I don't know. You make this list ahead of time. I'm trying to think of it in terms.
You could have. You could tell. You can tell who writes their answers down and who doesn't. I have Jazz, Rockets, Blazers as the last 3.
Who's the rapper you told me? The guy that does the you give him 4 words and he comes up with a rap in front of you.
Yeah.
You turned me on to this guy and he's awesome.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
His name is begins with an H. Harry
Mack.
Harry Mack. Yeah.
Okay, so his thing is basically he'll go up to people and go, "Give me 4 words." Then he creates like a really awesome rap and works those words into it. And beyond me being impressed just generally by his ability to do the rap, is that he does this rap and he can remember the 4 words they've said.
Yeah.
That part may be even as impressive to me that he remembered even the 4 words.
Yeah, I'd be writing those down.
I'd be like, how do you spell that?
So do you want to bump the Pelicans up?
I don't give a shit.
Okay. Pelicans at 13.
You're like, this prediction doesn't make Mark didn't do it ahead of time. Okay, I'll bump the Pelicans up to 11 and just bump everyone else down.
Okay. I still think that's pretty low for them, but
whatever. Who gives a shit, Jay?
So we both have the Lakers not making the playoffs in the father-son season.
Yeah.
Not even the play-in tournament.
Right. I mean, LeBron is turning 40 at the end of this year. He can't, at some point, he can't be as good. My son was like, should I take Anthony Davis? I was like, no, he's going to play half the season. So no, you shouldn't take him.
Yeah. You know he's going to play all season now just to piss your son off.
Probably. You're like, Dad, you told me not to take him. I'm like, yeah, I'm not good at this.
He played 76 games last season.
Really?
Yeah.
You could have made me a burger bet on that one because I would have never. I knew Precious's 3-point percentage, but I did not know how many games Anthony Davis played.
Yeah.
I think LeBron played like what, 60?
I will check right now. I'm gonna guess like 63.
Yeah. Okay. Way to go, slightly over me, Mr. I'm doing the Price is Right strategy.
71.
71. Wow.
And they still did nothing.
They still did nothing. The Lakers don't have a great roster,
and that's not going to happen again.
Okay.
They're both playing in the 60s, like maximum, right? They're not both playing in the 70s again.
No, definitely not. Anyway, Knicks win the finals over the Timberwolves. Jay and I have a strong disagreement about whether it's going to be 6 or 7 games, but either way, the Knicks are going to win the title.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're running out of time.
We are running out of time, so I want to thank everybody for listening. Sorry, we had to do it during a. Who would have thought?
Preseason game. I know you're all like just really all like hardcore watching.
Who would have thought recording during a Knicks game would have affected our live listeners? But it did.
Well, I mean, the Mets should really kind of be more courteous when they basically design their playoff schedule for us.
It's just crazy. They play like every day.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. This is the one off day. So they're 1-1. Hopefully by next show, the Mets will be in the World Series. That will be amazing. Jay, if the Mets are in the World Series, will you go to a game?
No.
Mostly because the price of the ticket will be $8,000.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun if it was the Yankees.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I think it was I think if the Mets go to the World Series, I think the lowest price tickets are like $1,000. I like this. I mean, like the worst seats in the house. This is
I bet if
insane.
they play the Yankees, they're even more.
Probably. The only people that can afford to go to the Mets Yankee games now are the guys that play in the NBA.
Right. All right, so I will be back Saturday. I'm going to do the live fantasy draft episode. So that'll be Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So,
Is Martin joining you?
Yes, so Martin will be
Awesome.
joining it. It's a fun episode, so yeah, stay tuned for that. nynixpodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us, and we are nynixpodcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. And links to the live shows are in the episode you're listening to. Just look at the show notes. And
I'll end the show with one question to you, Jay.
Okay.
If you could take one bench player from the 2012-13 Knicks and put him on this roster, who would it be?
it would
And
be...
it has to be that year's version of it, not like in their prime version. Guy
Right.
has to be a bench player.
Has to be a bench player.
Is Jay going to say J.R. Smith? Is Jay
No,
going to say J.R.
there's
Smith?
no way I'm saying J.R. Smith. Because it would have to be a weekday game, or he would just show up hungover. And
He was sixth man of the year in a really weird year of voting.
because he had like 6 good weeks, and he got sixth man of the year for that. So I would say Novak.
I'm going to say Kmart. Even though he was an older version, he brought the energy. He when he joined the team towards the end of the season and started playing major minutes, the Knicks went on an awesome run.
Yeah, he was great. I just
Novacaine's good, but I think the Knicks don't necessarily need Novocaine with this team.
did he even play in the playoffs? Oh, he did. Okay.
Novocaine?
No, Kmart.
Yeah, I think he wasn't quite as good but he had during the regular season, at the end of the season, he was awesome.
I mean, he played 21 minutes a game in the playoffs. That's fine.
Honorable mention for Rasheed Wallace, though he was out. He only played the first half of the season, first quarter of the season.
I would have thought having like 6 40-year-old guys on the team would have not been a good strategy.
J Kidd was a starter. Obviously Melo was a starter. And Chandler was a starter. I mean, J.R. Smith is the natural answer because he was the sixth man of the year. But if you're not choosing him, then you're going to choose. I'm going to choose Kmart.
Like I said, I
think
don't trust him to be sober.
we would need it to be helpful to have another big. So I think I would trust Kmart over Precious.
Yeah. It's just incredible how old that team was. All right, so thanks for listening, everybody, and I will talk to you on Saturday, and we are going to record Wednesday, unless there's the World Series going on next
Unless
Wednesday.
if the World Series is going on, I'm happy to record. If the Mets are in the World Series, we're going to change our schedule around for that.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. I will see you all on Saturday. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you.
It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone.
Feels so good to say goodbye.
I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl.
Goodbye, everybody.
So it's the end of the third, and Charlotte really is playing their starters.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this game after the kids go to bed. So don't spoil the rest of the game for me.
Okay.